Hello and welcome to Long Beach Lens. I am your host, Derek J. Simpson, Executive Director of the Long Beach Community Action Partnership. Today's guest is a professor of film and video production at California State University of Long Beach. Please join me in welcoming Tom Blomquist. How are you?
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm good. Thank you.
Good, good. We were just chatting about all the great things that are going on campus, but let's start with a little background on you. Not originally a Southern California native.
No, I'm from Chicago.
Right.
Originally.
So, go Cubs.
Go Cubs. Finally.
Okay.
Did it.
Finally.
108 years.
Right.
The wait is
Right.
over.
So what's the word you're hearing from back home after all of that?
Oh, they're just apoplectic.
I bet.
It's,
I bet.
when you're from a culture like that, they were the lovable losers. We were all so used to it. And then to have them win it all and so dramatically in that World Series, it was phenomenal. And they're just all going nuts.
Right.
The city's just gone insane. It's really fun.
So tell us then, to just sort of set the stage for the work that you're doing at Cal State Long Beach, but you had a life before this life.
I did. I'm what I like to call an industry refugee as a college
Okay.
educator. I spent 25 or 30 years in the television and film industry. Mm-hmm. I began at a large advertising agency in Chicago, Foot Cone and Belding, as a junior executive, helping develop the wonderful Hallmark Hall of Fame specials that were on NBC at the time. Had a chance to travel to several countries around the world working on some of those Hallmark shows. My mentor was a great producer, Dwayne Bogey, and I just learned so much about taste and judgment and how to treat people and all of the things that you don't learn in school, but if you're lucky, you learn along the way. And Dwayne was a wonderful man. And through that, I got the bug to become a writer. I don't know why. I had no idea what that meant, but I knew I had to quit my job and drive out to Los Angeles to be a television writer. So my family thought I was nuts, and they were correct. Right. And I packed up my little Ford Pinto with the exploding gas tank, remember those? And I drove out here, and I made it. And it took a while to have the writing career happen, but I did work in some other development jobs and produced a talk show at NBC and did a lot of different things until my writing was ready, or they were ready for me, or however you want to frame it. And then I wound up doing a lot of network TV shows over the years. I worked for Stephen J. Cannell, great writer-producer.
Oh, absolutely.
And did Hardcastle McCormick and The A-Team and Riptide and Hunter and all those shows that he had in that era. I freelanced for a number of shows and did Catherine Marshall's Christie, which was a lovely series based on her novel, and Walker, Texas Ranger, which my students always get a big kick out of.
Which was my mom's favorite show when she was alive, yes.
Well, that's nice to hear, thank you. And it was a great experience. I mean, how many times do you get to work with someone like Chuck Norris, who's an American icon and an extremely capable man in so many fields. And but through that all, I always had the feeling that I wanted to teach. I had some teachers in college that had made a big impact on me, and we became lifelong friends. And they were cheering me on, through my industry career. Meanwhile, I was looking at them with great envy and pride, and thought, that's the life I want. I want to be that person, because I saw the value that the quality of life, the value they had as people. And so whenever opportunities would come along, if I was between a TV series and something get canceled, and then I'd be out of work, I would jump into a teaching position somewhere that would open up. So I taught at USC and AFI and Chapman University and UCLA, here and there over the years, always thinking that someday I wanted to do that for a living full-time, and maybe do television and movie things on the side. And that's what ultimately happened when Long Beach offered me this full-time position. I thought, this is the time. This is what I've been thinking about doing, and now I'm going to try it. And I love it, and I should have done it 10 years earlier, because this is the best thing I ever did.
When you were speaking earlier, you mentioned the importance of mentor and learning in that workplace necessarily what you didn't learn in school. I think that's a really powerful statement, because I've often found that to be the case in my career path too, not only personally, but in those who have either worked with me or for me. How profound has that been in your experience?
Well, I've come to the conclusion now in my advancing years that you can't get this done unless you have at least one mentor in life, in your career. It may be a life mentor, but I'm just speaking now about careers. Right. Either for the training that you and the wisdom you get from that person, or just the reinforcement that you're worth something. Right. Because this is a competitive field, the entire entertainment field. It's not necessarily a meritocracy. Not everybody that is worthy has their dreams come true. That's not right, but it's a fact of the industry. And I assure you, there were people in writing workshops and things that I was in back in the day that were far better writers than me, had far more talent, natural raw talent, than I could ever think of having. My career happened for me. It didn't happen for some of them. I have no idea why. It's unjust, but maybe the difference was that I had a mentor in position at the right time who just said, I like you, I get you, I want to help you. Right. And they make a phone call, or they, there was one fellow, a gentleman, Frank Paris, was an executive at Disney Studios, and someone suggested that I go and meet him, and I did. He gave me a courtesy meeting, 15 minutes, right. But we had some kind of a nice connection there, and he would call me about every 6 months and take me to lunch. Now, I was starving, if my parents only knew. I was living on food stamps in a $105 a month apartment, trying to be a writer, and nobody would talk to me. And he would take me to this really elegant restaurant, and I'd have a wonderful lunch with him. And all he was doing was mentoring me. Just, how's it going? How's your writing? How are things? And that matters, and it fuels you. So to give that back to somebody in my private life or in my life now as a professor is the greatest feeling. It's the pay it forward thing. It come to life, and it's very real.
I actually say to the point that people always talk about it's not what you know but who you know, but I say it's another step to that. It's not just who you know but who knows you. Because if they're getting to know you, your aspirations, they're looking out for you even when you're not looking out for yourself.
That is so true.
It's so powerful in this market. I mean, coming from me, from Mobile, Alabama, where I was doing it all at a CBS affiliate, to this market, it was like I had never done anything, because you got to know the game.
Right. And you didn't do it here.
And you didn't. And that
there
made
is
all
a
the
conceit
difference.
here that if you didn't do it here, then somehow it might not matter.
Exactly.
And which is, again, totally unfair, ridiculous. Many people in your position might come here and not have it happen, and then they wind up leaving, going somewhere else with their feelings hurt, because this is the center of the entertainment universe. Right. People come from all over the world.
Exactly.
To be in the entertainment industry. Right. And I tell my students all the time that, every school in every town has some kind of a communications course, a media course, a film or television course, and some of them are perfectly good. All those people come here with a resume that looks almost identical to a resume you would have from any of the Los Angeles area schools. Right. And who is going to get through the door when it opens? Right. And it is who knows you. That's a really wonderful way of putting it. I used to curse my dad. He said, how come you don't know anybody in the entertainment business? He was a hospital administrator in Chicago. Right. And he said, I don't know anybody. You want to be a doctor or a lab technician, I can help you, but we don't know anybody. And so I had to make those connections myself. And I wish I had gone to Beverly Hills High School, and my uncle was a big movie producer, but it didn't. That just wasn't my lot in life. And so you need to kick it into a higher gear with a much sharper focus.
Now, do you find that with technology, like cameras being so much more affordable and the technology changing and social media, do you find that the playing field is a little bit more leveled because of the entry points? Or I realize at the top it's still pretty tough, but is it any better?
There's no comparison. It is, this is a fantastic time for someone to try to get into the entertainment industry. I use that industry because it could be music, it could be anything. Not to be myopic about just TV or film, but absolutely. There are diversity programs at all the networks and studios that didn't exist before. So if you're a protected class individual and you have a dream to become a writer, there's a place where you can show your work and be judged on the work's merits. That didn't exist 20 years ago, 30 years ago. The equipment you reference, absolutely. I mean, you can make a movie on your iPhone now, and if you know anything about lighting and anything about audio, you might even make one that is technically acceptable. So you don't need expensive equipment like you have in the studio to go make a movie. You just need to get out and do the work.
Drive and creative genius, huh?
One of the dirty secrets about doing this professionally is that creativity costs nothing. It's free. And it used to be that you had to buy cans of film and you had to go to the lab and you had to rent movie cameras, and that only the elites could afford that. And so they were artificially boxing people out. But now, if you have creativity, you can make something creative and you can put it on YouTube or someplace and get it seen, and you can get it into some agent's office somewhere. There's wonderful opportunities, and it's extremely exciting.
Well, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we will continue our conversation with Tom Blomquist. Stay tuned for more of Long Beach Lens.
Today we're going to embark on our journey across Long Beach. Okay, meet new people, learn new things, and think through and discuss together the issues that we discover. And we've already begun to open that discussion up, and we'll have a chance to really see the housing crisis face to face here, both the people and the location.
The only thing that I can remember is that I got the eviction notice saying that I was evicted. So it's me, my 2 daughters, and my 4 grandkids. So we have to be out by Sunday. We living with all kind of animals over there. We have roaches, bed bugs, and termites and everything else over in there. That's not worth living with.
Gentrification is something that we have to be wary of and ensure that while we have responsible development, that renters and workers and everybody from our LGBT to our senior populations are protected and have a pathway to have a safe and healthy home that they can afford without spending every last dollar.
We want development. These communities have been disinvested in for years, specifically because of the racial segregation, the redlining, the governments. Nobody's put money into these communities, so we want development. We don't want displacement.
Four out of 5 of the city's very low-income households experienced 1 or more housing problems: cost burden, overcrowding, substandard housing conditions. That's 4 out of 5, 80%. 2 out of 5 senior renters, all senior renters, are paying more than 50% of income for rent. Think about that. That's people on fixed income often paying 50% for rent. 1 out of 4 small family renters, which are 3 or less, are paying more than 50% of their income for rent.
It's not fair and it's unjust, and that's why we do what we do, and that's why we exist, because we are libre.
Welcome back. I'm your host, Derek J. Simpson. We've been chatting and having fun here with Tom Blomquist, and you said before the break, creativity costs nothing, and that really stuck with me because it doesn't. And these days, as you said, when you look at the fact that you can make a movie with an iPhone, and in fact, they even promote the iPhone as, hey, this was shot with an iPhone. It just shows you just how powerful things can be. And 60 Minutes, as a matter of fact, had a feature a couple of weeks back, just showing how people had millions of followers and they were making big money just by 6-minute videos, 6-second videos, and things such as that. So times have changed.
Times have changed, and they are changing as we are sitting here, which is, there's never been a technological explosion, in our lifetime like the one we're in, and this is almost industrial revolution type of stuff, because a day doesn't go by that there's not a new revelation in some important technology in life, and especially this industry, the cameras, the everything. It's editing. It's become truly democratic. And previously it wasn't democratic. Only the elites had access to this expensive equipment and technologies and training. And now it's completely democratic. Anybody can go do something, at least in terms of a narrative story or a music video. A band records on a laptop now with GarageBand and whatever. You don't need all of that. You can make an album for $1.50 now instead of $150,000, and that's major change.
That's major. So let's talk about the Film and Electronic Media Arts Department. They're clearly very fortunate as students and a department to have people such as yourself to bring such a diverse background to the department. But what do you find that makes it special? If you're talking to a parent or a student or a business person, what inspires you about that department that makes it special today?
Well, one of the nice things about the program as it has evolved over the years, even before I arrived, is that it's a very healthy mix of people like me that came from the industry or are still in the industry and are teaching, and then academics who are theorists and write scholarly articles and are film historians and whatever. So it's about half and half on our faculty. And that creates a very reasonable blend of point of view. The danger that programs like this have to avoid is the tendency to become a trade school. There's a lot of trade schools in Los Angeles do a great job. You want to be an editor, go learn editing. You want to be a cinematographer, they'll teach you lighting and cameras. But at a university, you're ostensibly there to have an expanded worldview. That's why they make you take those classes, in geology and history and whatever, because it will hopefully make you be a more rounded individual, more well-rounded. And our program is aspect of that it's not enough to know that the physical step 1, step 2, step 3 of making a film, but studying the great films and knowing why they were great, knowing why they were great filmmakers, and understanding the theory behind and the trends and the traditions will inform your work. And so if you want to be Martin Scorsese or Steven Spielberg, one of our alums, by the way, if you want to be one of them, if you want to emulate their careers, James Cameron, any of those people, they know what they're talking about. They don't just know how to point a camera at something effectively. they know their film, they know their craft, they know the history of it, they know so much, and the totality of the art form. So I think we do a very good job at Cal State Long Beach in providing that to everyone and the opportunities they can get. The trade school part of this isn't that difficult. I mean, ultimately, it's knowing how to apply those skills to a larger work of art, to a larger purpose. That's the hard part, and not everybody can do that.
Now, when you have that background, it also helps to have the right tools to do the work once you get ready to bring it to life. And to that end, we recently had a press conference there at Cal State Long Beach, we being PatNet TV and Long Beach Cap, to basically talk about a very special collaboration that had occurred, and we took some photos of it while we were all there. So can you share with the audience watching what just transpired there?
From our point of view, a miracle descended from heaven, and his name was you.
No.
This partnership is extraordinary for us and our instructional needs. The opportunity to upgrade our facility, our television facility, to a professional HD studio with all of the bells and whistles to properly educate people is
we're showing photos of it as you're talking about it.
Come true. There it is. And look at those smiling people. Programs like this are very equipment heavy. They're very expensive to populate with all the gear that you need. And not everybody has that money to allocate. There's a lot of demands on a university's budget and on a college budget. So while you have your equipment, you have to make do with that. Well, the equipment needs change, and we haven't been able to always change with the times in the television track. Now we have, thanks to this partnership, the opportunity to not only use this wonderful state-of-the-art equipment, but to provide programming to this channel is an extraordinary thing, because it's the outlet of the work. It's one thing to do class exercises. It's something else to have something to be broadcast quality for a client, meaning you, and to have it be seen by the public. So the enthusiasm, there's been like an injection of adrenaline into our students,
that's great.
because
That's
they know what they're doing now matters
Right.
in a way that it just didn't before, because we had no real outlet for it, and it wasn't technologically acceptable anyway because of the old equipment we were using. So we've recently shot 5 talk shows that we'll be delivering soon here under the umbrella of Beach Views, and it's discussions, roundtable discussions of things of interest to students in our community, which is 37,000 people. And then there will be a series of music programs called Surf Sessions, and it'll be in studio live music with local artists from Long Beach and from the university. And the opportunity to do that and have it be seen by people, maybe forever, depending on how often you want to run some of these. It's extraordinary, and so we are very grateful. And so it's both instructional opportunity for the teachers and a practical and aesthetic opportunity for the students that is extraordinary. And this has really been a kick in the butt for our program.
And for us, being PadNet, I mean, I tell people we have 365 days of the year, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week of opportunity for programming to air. And so to be able to leverage our strength, which was the ability to bring the equipment to the college, and leverage your strength, which is the creative genius of the students and the faculty there, just seemed like the perfect thing and the right thing to do with the funding that we did have available for that specific purpose.
Well, it is again, we're so grateful for this, and it's something we've longed for, and we just you came and saw what we were working with, and the idea that we were going to somehow find that funding in the university structure anytime soon with their budget issues, and it just wasn't likely. So this has revitalized our purpose, and that it blends with your mandates, and your very real purpose here is very exciting, and we will be doing more and more and more of these programs. And I can't wait, because you talk about the creative genius of some of the students, and we have some students
sure
that
we
have
do.
just been, they're like racehorses at the gate ready to go when they ring the bell at the track, you know, and they've just been waiting for this opportunity to get their hands on this kind of equipment and have this kind of outlet for their work. And I think we are all going to be very pleasantly surprised.
Do you think it'll help at any level with student recruitment when they're looking at the various college
There's
opportunities?
no question. You know, there are many fine schools in Southern California, good ones. I've taught at several of them, and I know what they have, and I know what they do. And if you are looking for the best and brightest to come to your place to learn from you and work and commingle with your student population, then there are certain things you just have to have. And this has, for our television track, given us a huge boost. And now there is a very real reason for someone to come to Cal State Long Beach to study in our program. And I think, you know, in the next couple, 3, 4, 5 years, the results of that will be very apparent to everybody. And you'll be able to look back on that with great pride, because they'll all be working here, by the way. So we have so many of our interns working with you. We're so grateful for that as well.
Well, I would like to believe that we have that opportunity to, either through us directly or indirectly, make great things happen. We're out of time. It's always a pleasure now that we've met to talk and,
thank you so much.
Share ideas. And we're going to be doing more of this as we go along.
Anytime, and we have to get you over there soon to
Absolutely.
talk to the
We'll
students.
love it. That concludes our show. I'd like to thank Tom Blomquist for joining us today. Be sure to follow PatNet TV on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for the latest updates. We also welcome your comments and thoughts regarding this show, as we strive to make Long Beach Lens a favorite source of local news, information, and entertainment. This show has been brought to you with support from the Long Beach Community Action Partnership. Thank you for watching Long Beach Lens.